Hey there guys, Peter here with new video for you. Today we shall see the RX 460's release. In the meantime, let's check out what the RX 470 has given us. You can see the reference specifications of the 470 on the screen right now. The main thing of the 470 is supposed to be cheaper, more affordable alternative to the RX 480. But the suggested price, also known as MSRP, is laughable. We're talking about $180 or something like that. The pricing of the different models starts from $189 and it only goes up. Anyways, the cheapest option on the market at the moment is the Sapphire Platinum. Since AMD does not offer a reference model of the 470, Sapphire obviously took it upon themselves to make one. And what do we know about AMD reference models? They have a crappy noisy cooler that doesn't even cool all that well. What we have in front of us is exactly the 480 reference model with metallic silver-ish gray paint instead of the red paint. Talking about reference design, here we have the Power Color Red Dragon card. That counterintuitively is actually white. It is basically their custom model 470 but not overclocked. Everything is on stock frequencies. It's just using the custom PCB design and the better cooling. It's not out on the market yet, but speculation claim that this one will be under $200. Staying on the power color topic, here we have the Devil. This is a dual fan cooler with 90mm fans instead of triple cooler with 80mm fans that the 480 have. What I see on this cooler are 3 heat pipes for the graphics chip that has direct contact with the aluminum fins for the VRMs. However, I see no cooling for the memory chips. That is kind of my issue, and that is kind of the theme with most of the aftermarket 470 models. Anyways, moving right along to the Gigabyte model that isn't reviewed anywhere yet. It has a dual fan design just like the Power Color, but look at the size of this thing. You can easily count the aluminum fins of the cooler. And the cooler itself is so tiny. I mean, come on guys. We know AMD cards are not the coolest. Put some effort into it. I mean, Jesus Christ. XFX. The same cooler as the 480 model. Removable fans, etc, etc. The switch for the work mode of the card or the dual BIOS or whatever is controlling the overclock is right here. And again next to it we see no cooling for the memory chips. While there is some really decent cooling for the VRMs, again the plate that is directly touching the aluminum fins. Having 3 different models really raises the question of the usefulness of the multiple BIOSes and overclock modes for each model, especially when we look at the thermals that are really high. I mean 76 on Open Test Bench. Nice enough from legit reviews to show us the Sapphire Nitro 480 results as well on the same graph. The Nitro is cooler, and in my 480 Roundup I noted that the Sapphire have kind of a crappy cooler in this time around. Talking about Sapphire, they have not changed anything about the cooler. It's the same thing on the 470 that we have seen on the 480. The same removable fans, the same perforated backplate, the same visual style, the same side power connector. However, it is the only card that actually provides some cooling for the memory chips. MSI. This time around MSI actually released their card in time, so I can include it in the video without speculations. However, while the last time around MSI used a simple metal bracket to cool the memory chips, this time they don't even use that. This card don't even have a backplate. is the first model we see so far that doesn't have one, but it will not be the last. The massive cooler has 6 heat pipes according to the specifications, but my eyes only see 4. No matter, we can see that this thing keeps the chip really cool. In the graph we can also see the ASUS Strix 480. We can see that the MSI is basically performing admirably, keeping in mind that the ASUS is actually the coolest 480 and it's a triple fan cooler. So MSI is doing just as well, if not better, with less material. I'm really impressed. If only they had some memory cooling and backplate. Speaking of ASUS and memory chips, I am not surprised to see that their 470 model is lacking any memory cooling whatsoever. Their 480 Strix can barely claim to have any cooling at all, and this model don't even have that. On top of that, it lacks backplate just like the MSI model. If you compare it to the 480, it's just like the devil. Same as its bigger brother, it's just smaller. It's same fans, but it's 2 instead of 3. It's the same extra fan plug, but it's just 1 and not 2 like the 480 model. Same direct touch heat pipe, cooler, just smaller and no backplate. Anyways, let's check out the performance. Basically, the high overclocked Nitro version of the 470 is trailing about 5% behind the reference RX 480, and all the rest are slightly behind. Thanks to the French site Le Compteur de Hardware, or however you're supposed to pronounce that, I'm sorry, I can't speak French at all. So thanks to the French guys, we have a benchmark numbers for the Platinum 470. Keeping in mind this is almost the reference specifications with just 10 MHz overclock, this card is 10 to 15% slower in both DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 and Vulkan tests. And this is just the reference, so all other cards will be cramped in those 5-10% performance difference between the reference 470 and the high overclocked Nitro 470. Thermal wise, ASUS and MSI are on the top of the list, however they lack the backplate, and we can see that the back of the ASUS card is way hotter than the competition. But if you ask me, none of that matters. Not even the fact that once again the devil is quiet as hell, yeah, pun intended. None of that matters, because all the cards we have seen in this video, with the only possible exception of the crappy Platinum card and maybe the White Dragon from Power Color that isn't out yet, all cards are $199 and above in pricing. For that price you'll be able to get the stupid reference 4GB RX 480 and get 10% faster performance. AMD have claimed that the large batch of 480 cards is going to be shipped around this week, so I just don't see why should anyone buy the RX 470. For the same price you can get a faster card. It's not a rocket science. There is literally no reason to get 470. Unless you find a deal on one of those Nitro cards that will be under $180, otherwise just save a few more bucks and just get 480. Honestly, I'm more interested in what the RX 460 has to offer. If this thing is anywhere near the R9 380 in performance for the expected price of $100, it will be the new price to performance monster. However, the big question marks hangs above those $100 price point. But anyway, we shall see about that. I'll end the video here, guys. Click that like button if you enjoyed the video. If you did not, well, the dislike button is right next to it. Leave a comment or suggestion in the section down below, and I'll see you in the next video.